Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. The ceremony is about to begin. May we request everyone to be seated, observe silence and practice social distancing. May we also request our guests to please turn off their cellular phones and electronic devices as they may interfere with our sound system. Thank you. Announcing the arrival of our guest of honor, Major General EDGARD A. AREVALO, Philippine Navy, Marines, Commander, Armed Forces of the Philippines Education, Training, and Doctrines Command. He is accompanied by Vice Admiral EDUARDO SANTOS, Armed Forces of the Philippines, retired, President, Maritime Academy of Asia and the Pacific.
You are now witnessing the Fleet Adjutant proceeding to his position. With him are the 1st Squadron Adjutant and 2nd Squadron Adjutant. They will also take their posts respective to their squadrons. The Fleet Adjutant is Midshipman First Sean Carlo Chico. The 1st Squadron Adjutant is Midshipman First Julius Fagali Lawan. The 2nd Squadron Adjutant is Midshipman First Brandon Bennett Achuela. As soon as the 2nd Squadron Adjutant reaches his post, the Fleet Adjutant will direct the band to sound the attention call and subsequently sound the Adjutant's call.
Attention call has just been sounded, signaling the midshipman fleet to prepare for their entry. As the band sounds the Adjutant's call, you shall now witness the midshipman fleet of the Maritime Academy of Asia and the Pacific, marching to the cadence of the martial tune. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1st Squadron, led by Midshipman First Class John Patino and his staff. It is composed of the Alpha and the Bravo Company. The Alpha Company is led by Midshipman First Class Peter Edfrain Galabok and his staff. The Alpha Company is composed of 3 platoons of young and clever midshipmen from different parts of the archipelago. They are called the Admirals because they lead, they think, and they speak like one. As the leading company of the fleet, the Alpha is always prepared for any eventuality. It would be unusual to see a member of this company not prepared. They always have something to show in any event. Alpha Company is marked by a very strong bond between its members. Entering next is the Bravo Buccaneers, led by Midshipman First Class Maynard Gil Nacario and his staff, the Black Company of the Fleet. Opposite to the color they carry is never dull. They can always find a way to smile even in the midst of unfortunate situations. Their sense of humor never runs out, and their indomitable company spirit has bonded these young men and women with strong chains of camaraderie. The Bravo Company is truly a home for midshipmen, known for their patience and iron will to go on.
Following is the second squadron led by Midshipman First Daniel Gerald Cabalza and his staff. The second squadron is composed of the Charlie and the Delta Company. The Charlie Company is commanded by Midshipman First Jason Bandoquillo and his staff. This company is carrying the yellow color, but they could not be called that way, because this troop is composed of aggressive individuals who never run away from any challenge. They are always willing to prove and make their way in any competition. They have proven their strength many times in the past that their presence could not be ignored, making them one of the toughest companies in the Academy. Entering now is the Delta Company under the command of Midshipman First Mark Monte and his staff. Delta carries white as its company color. The Delta Dukes have made its name in different areas of excellence in the Academy, making them companies in the field of competition. To gain victory with the purest of intention is the company's philosophy. A Delta Duke will always be a Duke. Like diamonds, one must undergo a test of strength, tempered through the furnace and pressure in order to become one.
You're now witnessing the entrance of the Fleet Commander and his staff, headed by Midshipman First Class Lee Martin Mingo, the Fleet Commander. Ladies and gentlemen, formed before you is the Midshipman Fleet of the Maritime Academy of Asia and the Pacific. Let us give them a warm round of applause.
The Fleet Adjutant designates Alpha Company as the base company. You are now witnessing the Squadron Adjutants strutting to their respective posts.
In a brisk manner called the Adjutant Strut, the Fleet Adjutant positions himself between the Fleet and the Fleet Commander.
The adjutant arrived with the platoon guide take their posts in line with the troops. Parade rest was ordered to bring the troops to at ease as they listened to the martial tune.
The Maritime Academy of Asia and the Pacific, or MAAP, was established on January 14, 1998. It is ran by the Governing Board of AMSO, Private Sector, Danish Ship Owners Association, the International Transport Workers Federation, the International Maritime Employers Council, All Japan Seamen's Union, the International Mariners Management of Japan, and the Filipino Association of Mariners Employment. The founding of the Academy is in line with AMSO's dream of putting up a maritime academy that is at par with other maritime schools around the world, in terms of academic excellence in the maritime education and training. The primary objective is to keep up with the ever-increasing demand of both local and foreign shipping companies, with a well-disciplined, ably trained, competent, and qualified deck officers and marine engineers who are readily at hand in a globally competitive maritime industry. Guided by its motto, Virtus, Fides et Disciplina, and founded on the precepts of a God-loving, world-class seafarer, imbued with the values of duty, service, selflessness, search for truth, and integrity. Inspired by the ideals and dreams of its founder, Captain Gregorio S. Oca, we shall provide an environment-friendly institution responsive to the national and international goals and aspirations of the global community.
Please all rise for the singing of the Philippine National Anthem. Thank you. You may now take your seats. The fleet adjutant reported to the fleet commander that the fleet is formed. Right shoulder arms. Left shoulder arms. Forward arms. Inspection arms. End order arms.
The fleet commander orders the fleet adjutant to account for the completeness of the troops.
After receiving the reports, the fleet adjutant faces about, salutes, and reports. Sir, the midshipman fleet is present and accounted for. The fleet commander directs the fleet adjutant to publish the orders of the day.
After publishing the orders, the fleet adjutant gives the command officers center march. He then takes his post to the fleet staff as the officers move forward to get instruction from the fleet commander. Ladies and gentlemen, approaching the grandstand are the officers of the midshipman fleet of the Maritime Academy of Asia and the Pacific. The fleet commander acknowledges the salute, gives instructions, and directs the officers back to their post.
The fleet commander has brought the fleet to present arms to present the troop to our guest of honor. Please all rise for the presentation of honors. Thank you. You may now take your seats.
Vice Admiral EDUARDO SANTOS, Armed Forces of the Philippines, retired, President, Maritime Academy of Asia and the Pacific, will now render his remarks and subsequently introduce our guest of honor.
Fleet Commander, please give the fleet parade dress. Thank you. Our guest of honor, whom I shall formally introduce later, Mrs. Mel Beng AREVALO, our Assistant Vice President for Training, Captain Punyakaw, Assistant Vice President for Academics, Dr. Leo Lee, our Assistant Vice President for Administration, Captain Gerlo El Chico, Captain Lawrence Ato, DMA, Commander Cando, the Commandant of the 169th Naval ROTC Unit, the members of the faculty and the staff who are here. I'd like to particularly acknowledge our handful of DMA tactical officers. Let's give them a big hand. The members of class 2024 who will be our honorees for this morning's activity, the ladies and gentlemen of the fleet, members of the staff and faculty, ladies and gentlemen, Let me also greet the parents, relatives, and friends who are following us virtually at this time. Good morning to all of you. My friends, a pleasant morning to everyone. We're gathered today for the recognition of Class 2024. I'm sure that, and I've told you already, that when the pandemic hit our country last year, the education sector was one of the most adversely affected institutions, primarily because the President declared suspension of classes in all levels. The maritime schools, particularly, seriously contemplated on the best way to comply with the government's pronouncements. We at MAAP had to strategize and plan in order to pursue our goal of continuing instructions in consideration of the peculiarity of our own environment here at MAAP. Our students are housed in dormitories, and their health and safety was of paramount concern. While other schools were forced to close, some temporarily, a few permanently closed, we managed to complete the academic year last year and pulled through our first virtual graduation for the 340 members of Class 2020 in May and December last year. Furthermore, with the necessary safety protocols in place, even with a slight delay, we finally received you, the members of Class 2024, in August. And today, we celebrate your recognition ceremony. For the classes before you, recognition may mean differently. Regardless of what differences in faces or obstacles were, the essence of Recognition Day remains. It symbolizes the day of acceptance of each fourth-class cadet as a worthy member of the upperclassmen of the midshipman fleet. And this is marked with a meaningful handshake from your upperclassmen. Looking back, in spite of the COVID-19 protocols, your class faced difficulties and challenges of a different kind. For one, the shift to virtual learning entailed a big adjustment for most of you, and even for all of you, who were accustomed to face-to-face instructions. Fortunately, MAAP had mapped out our technological infrastructure development projects so that when the pandemic struck, what we simply did was to fast-track all infrastructure projects. Our learning management system was already in place, and the pandemic just propelled its use and further enhancements. And this have brought us to where we are today. Thus, with the heavy reliance on technology, every student was challenged to adapt and acquire computer literacy skills in order to cope. Clearly, your completion of the first academic year is your personal achievement at this point in your journey towards a better life. Like any other institution, faced with a myriad of challenges in shifting to the new normal in education, we took every positive effort to adapt, to innovate, and improve our practices. Our recent successes in obtaining the ISO 21001 version 2018 standards for maritime education and training. We got our accreditation from Det Norsk Veritas, our external auditor. On top of that, We recently concluded the CHED Marina audit, which we passed successfully and even ahead of time because they had nothing else to inspect. And so these are indeed solid evidences of our commitment to our mission and vision. Your class, the class of 2024, stands to benefit from all of these innovations. Today, I also welcome the families, the relatives, the friends of Class 2024 who are joining us online. We are glad that you are together with us today. And while we wish that, as in other years, all of you would be here in the campus, bringing your food and conducting picnics, it is with this virtual ceremony that we find best and fitting in this time of the pandemic to be able to mark the significance of this occasion. Although simple compared to other celebrations in the past, the essence of today's recognition still remains. This is a testimonial to all your physical pains, your emotional adjustments, your loneliness, your mental struggles, your perseverance, and your determination to push through. Let us give our fourth classmen to be recognized a warm round of applause. On top of that, to highlight this activity, we're also honored to have a guest speaker whose wealth of experience our cadets can learn from. More importantly, he has also suffered the pains and sacrifices of plebe year and also tasted the sweet reward of a handshake during his own recognition day. Today's ceremony is also a testimony to our zealous commitment to fulfill our duty of providing the best education and training to maritime students in our country. It is a testament to the institution's resilience, flexibility, and adaptability to be the catalyst for change in the field of maritime education. Let us give our faculty, our staff, and our DMA tactical officers a warm round of applause. Once again, let me welcome all of you to this morning's ceremony. I would like to personally congratulate each and every one of you, members of Class 2024. Today, you have proven what it takes to be called a MAAP upper class. I'm proud of each and every one of you, and I congratulate the equally proud parents and loved ones as I welcome everyone to this recognition ceremony of Class 2024. Thank you. For my more pleasant task, I am privileged to introduce to you our guest of honor and speaker. He is an alumnus of the Philippine Military Academy and a member of the Big Kislahi class of 1990. I recall when I was 5th Coast Guard District Commander in Batangas many years ago. Our guest of honor was a first class cadet conducting his on-the-job training. And among all his classmates, he was the only one who called on me at the headquarters of the 5th Coast Guard District Commander and asked me how it was to be in the Navy. And so we had a talk, and for that reason, I could not forget him because of all the PMA cadets undergoing OJT and passing through my port and even in my other places of command. Our guest of honor was the only cadet who approached me, a captain at that time, in my headquarters and tried to do some small talk. So So I'm very happy that he's here with us today. Upon his graduation from PMA, he joined the Philippine Marine Corps of the Philippine Navy, and he started as a platoon commander, a company commander in the island provinces of Basilan and Palawan. After his field assignments, he pursued a graduate degree at the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, while he was assigned at the Philippine Marine Corps staff. He finished his Master of Science in Development Communications with honors in 1998 at said university. That was only 8 years after his graduation. Our guest of honor was assigned as military instructor to his alma mater, the Philippine Military Academy, together with Dr. Lee. And among his significant positions was assistant and later acting head of the Department of Humanities of the academic group. However, during that time, it appeared that he was an excellent communicator and a public speaker, and he also got another task as the Academy's Chief of the Public Affairs Office and spokesperson as well. He was also Editor-in-Chief of the PMA's official publication, The Fourth Sentinel. With his critical roles, he was given a scholarship program to advance his knowledge and skills. As a working student, he took up Bachelor of Laws from Baguio College's foundation, where he graduated in March 2005. He passed the bar examinations and was admitted to the practice of law while assigned in the academy. Well, he also wrote a book, Survival Kit for Public Officers, which he published in 2009. In the next year, our guest of honor was assigned back to the Philippine Navy headquarters as Director of the Naval Public Affairs Office and concurrent spokesperson of the Philippine Navy. After his tour, he was selected to take the Australian Command and Staff course at the Australian Defence College in Canberra, Australia, where he graduated with distinction in 2011. He then continued to earn a graduate diploma of Strategy in Defence Studies from the same college. Further, under the ADC's twinning program with the University of New South Wales, he finished his Master of Arts in Strategy and Policy and another graduate degree in Defense Studies in Strategic Planning and Management. After his schooling abroad, our guest of honor served another education and training institution, the then Command and General Staff College, as instructor, as directing staff, and as course director. He became known by students as a dedicated and passionate mentor, a vocal and avid reformer of the education and training system of the Armed Forces Command and General Staff College. Prior to his current designation, our guest of honor was commander of the Philippine Navy Civil Military Operations Group. He was deputy commander and later acting commander of the AFP PSYOPS Command Civil Relations Service. He was promoted Brigadier General upon assumption to the post of Assistant Deputy Chief of Staff for Civil Military Operations, J7, in General Headquarters. He was also concurrently the top communicator and mouthpiece of the Armed Forces as his spokesperson in May 2020. He was designated as the 4th Commander of the Education, Training and Doctrine Command, where he was promoted to Major General. He remains today, aside from being a multitasking officer since his junior years, he remains today as the longest-serving Armed Forces of the Philippines spokesperson in a concurrent capacity. And he has served 8 AFP Chiefs of Staffs. So as you can see, he's probably more popular than the Chiefs of Staff that he has served. Because while the others have stayed in their position for only 9 months, 10 months to 1 year, he has continued on. His dedication and commitment to the naval service is approximated in the various awards, medals, and commendations that adorn his service reputations. He is a recipient of 4 Distinguished Service Stars, 1 Gold Cross Medal for Gallantry, Meritorious Achievement Medals, among the many other medals and campaign ribbons. From all his posts, our guest of honor exemplified professionalism and notable leadership, discipline, and excellence. Our guest of honor hails from Bawan, Batangas, and he is happily married to Miss Melvin Beng Banawa AREVALO, a civil engineer and environmental planner. They are blessed with 4 daughters and also 4 grandchildren. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to introduce our guest of honor and speaker for this morning, a decorated Marine, an attorney at law, a notary public, an author, educator, crisis communicator, civil military operations practitioner, and one of the finest Marine officers that I have worked with, the Commander of the Armed Forces of the Philippines Education, Training, and Doctrines Command, Major General EDGARD Arquillo AREVALO, Armed Forces of the Philippines.
With the kind permission of the President, please allow me, sir, to remove my mask as well. Thank you. Midshipman First Class Leo Martin Domingo, the Baron and Fleet Commander, please give the midshipmen and women tikas pahinga. Again, let me greet Vice Admiral Eduardo Maar Santos, Philippine Navy retired, the 23rd Flag Officer in Command of the Philippine Navy, one of the most distinguished alumni of the Philippine Military Academy, and truly an exemplar of what is to be a professional Navy officer. Thank you very much, sir, for your very kind words of introduction. Palakpakan natin. We have the AVP for training, Captain Joponce Tunyacao. Sir, my former boss at N1. I do not know, sir, if you could still recall that I am your branch chief at the Morale, Welfare, Discipline, Law and Order branch of N1 that was still merged, sir, at that time. A very good friend and another distinguished naval officer, Captain Jerlo El Chico, the AVP for Admin and DMA Director. My colleague at the PMA faculty, Dr. Leo Lee, the AVP for Academics. Captain Daniel Torres Jr., the Dean of Academics. Let me also greet Captain Lawrence P. Ato Jr., Philippine Navy, retired, the Assistant Director for Midshipman Affairs. Allow me also to greet the proud parents of MAAP Class of 2024 who are proudly and happily watching us over or online. Allow me also to greet Midshipman 4th Class, Edward Rosal, the Class Marcher of Class 2024. Palakpakan din natin. I have with me my staff, the SJS, the staff for Joint Coordinating Staff, also a graduate of the Australian Defense College, Commander George Besa, my flag lieutenant, and of course also the Chief of Security, Lieutenant Joan Gabitanan, and the members of my team who are in attendance, Technical Sergeant Gutierrez and Sergeant Ularte, and other members of my party, and saving the best greeting for last, bago ako hindi makapasok sa bahay namin, ang aking nag-iisang ikaw, the wind beneath my wings, my well of inspiration, the mother of my children, Engineer Beng Banawa Arevalo, ENT. My friends, ladies and gentlemen, pleasant morning to all of you. First of all, I would like to thank Vice Admiral Santos, sir, for this very rare privilege to speak before you, midshipman fleet of the Maritime Academy of Asia and the Pacific. Being in this place, being in MAAP, transports me back to Fort Del Pilar, the hallowed grounds of my alma mater, where, like you, I had built fondest memories with my upperclassmen, my underclassmen, and of course my classmates. As I was also recognized, as the President said, had that eerie feeling of that blessed handshake way back in 1986 when I had been recognized myself. In a sense, this is a journey down memory lane. Your recognition ceremony, MAAP Class of 2024, 425 of you, will undoubtedly be one of those fond memories that you will forever cherish and keep in your treasure chest for as long as you live. For me, my own recognition day is perhaps my first real achievement as a cadet. It was the culmination of a weeding out process, the one that I survived, only few survived, and which heralded my complete transformation and metamorphosis into what I am as I stand proud before you today. I am sure that your own journey, especially the class of 2024, through the different obstacles and challenges that you have experienced and hurdled throughout the period of time that you are here in MAAP, is a crucial transition process that may not be the same or similar for all of you. Some probably had better preparations, that they are made ready to face the challenges. Some are maybe even surprised as to what it is and they have experienced at MAAP. And of course, the pandemic did not make it easier for all of us either. But in any case, you midshipmen and women, you all triumphed over these challenges. Although you may not realize it, the life's limitations, such as being away from your family and loved ones, or being isolated here in Bataan, this worked to inspire all of you to strive harder, to aim higher, to achieve greater heights. And without them, you may not have reached this point. Hence, your brief stay here in MAAP has taught you valuable lessons in knowing yourselves better, in living independently, in hurdling various challenges, in dealing with others as you navigate through your individual journey of learning. I would understand that you have experienced a lot of expectations that you have to exceed, to the point probably that you have just realized that you are capable of overcoming. Limitations that you thought would only be up to that level of performance you could give, but only through the rudiments of training, the prying eyes of your upperclassmen, and of course, the constant follow-up of your tactical officers You only now realize that you could surpass all your perceived limits, because MAAP is considered as one of the bastions of maritime excellence and the ideal of excellence in terms of training. Watching you earlier as you marched in, we were talking, the President and I were conversing about how you really measure up to the expectation and the snappity that is required of you. Well-pressed uniform, glittering bell buttons, snappy executions, the manual of arms, all those hallmarks, the quality of training, not just academic, not just character, but also your sense of precision, your sense of discipline that truly reflects your virtue that is innate in MAAP, which is competence, loyalty, and discipline. And as such, there are only few remarkable people who could measure up and would have inspired us the way MAAP did, and these are personified by some of our heroes of the past that we recognize until today. From these personal examples, I could say that Jose Rizal, our national hero, has shown us three attributes that I wish to impart to you to be part of your guiding light, to be part of your guidebook as you continue your journey in MAAP. First is his ability to identify purpose. Second is his capacity to find joy. And the third is his power to cultivate faith and humility. Please allow me to take a moment to elaborate on some of these virtues. Ability to identify purpose. You came up to MAAP, or you came to MAAP for a singular purpose, and that is to ultimately graduate from this premier maritime institution in the region. From the thousands who applied, you were one of those selected. Shall I say fortunate? But I'd like to tell you that fortunate or lucky is a meeting of two important things. First is opportunity, and second is competence. You might have been given all the competence, but you do not have the opportunity to show it or the chance to shine. It won't go. But if you are given all the opportunities, but you lack the competence, still it won't go. You are lucky, therefore, if your opportunity meets competence. Therefore, I say that you are lucky because you are not just fortunate, but you're not just competent, but also you are given the opportunity. So in these difficult times that you spent in MAAP, courses like thermodynamics or calculus or even English could be a challenge. But keep an eye on your purpose, because that will give you the reason to strive harder, to survive each day until you attain that objective. And that is what Jose Rizal exemplified. As he traveled in the different parts of Europe, he never lost his view or his goal to attain the independence for our nation, since that is his overall goal. Rizal overcame loneliness and perhaps depression by focusing intently on his goal. Therefore, you have to set your course and continue to traversing it through your established waypoints. The second attribute is his capacity to find joy. Dr. Jose Rizal had a love for learning and reading, which he used probably as a coping mechanism against his personal worries. He especially loved literature and poetry. And through his travels and experience in Europe, he was inspired to translate English classics and introduce them to our people. His retreat into books likely boosted his literary and remarkable skills that allowed him and propelled him to be able to write his composition, the immortal and critically acclaimed novels No Limitangere and El Filibusterismo that today we all know sparked the revolution and independence of our country. My dear midshipmen and women, we can learn from this example. People might say there's no joy to find with the pandemic, but as our President has established, it even pushed us further. It even gave us the impetus of going online, something that you are already ready, but the pandemic hastened it all the more for you to realize it and make it work at a sooner possible time. Come to think of it, the pandemic has an education that the world and its libraries open their access to students regardless of their geographical locations. And we can tap into these platforms for our reading and learning experiences. There are no limitations in the virtual learning space. Therefore, we may even say, thanks to SARS-CoV-2 virus and the pandemic, because all these things that long been needed to be done was actually done over a short period of time. It hastened it. It catalyzed it because of the pandemic. Finding joy in seeming misfortune. And finally, Rizal's attribute of cultivating humility and faith. Despite earning the respect and the esteemed position in society at the time, Dr. Rizal kept his sense of humility. Being down to earth, he was able to accept his own failures and take his sojourn to Dapitan. There he tried to live a normal life away from the prying eyes of the Spanish government. He capitalized on his faith, and which bolstered him in times of hardship and depression. His belief to the Supreme Creator gave him the ability to let go when his sense of responsibility became too great. We are all aware of varied accomplishments of Dr. Rizal, and I'm highlighting some points in his life because there is a Jose Rizal in all of you. And you continue to make true Rizal's prediction that you, the youth, is the hope of this fatherland. Booker Washington, an African-American author, orator, and advisor to United States President, said, and I quote, "Success is to be measured not so much of the position one has gained, but more on the obstacle that he was able to hurdle on his way to success." Today, during your recognition day, members of MAAP Class 2024, you have hurdled a major obstacle in your academy life. So far, so good. You deserve, midshipmen and women, our warmest felicitations. Palakpakan po natin sila. And the same goes to the proud parents who are watching us, whose hearts are thumping with pride for the great accomplishment that their sons and daughters have just accomplished. But mind you, this is not the end of your voyage yet. But as you celebrate this milestone reached in your waypoint and continue with the voyage that is not over yet, feel proud, feel sense of accomplishment, feel happy because the fact that you are being recognized today only exemplifies the degree of preparedness that you have given by your upperclassmen. And for that, let us also congratulate and give a big round of applause to the upper class clique. And allow me to conclude by citing that old Irish prayer. And I am going to invite the parents and the members of the faculty as we pray and recite this prayer to you. And I quote, "May the road rise up to meet you," or in your case, "May the seas be calmer when you cross them. The wind be always at your back. The sun shining warmly on your faces, and that the rain will fall soft in your field. And until we meet again, we pray that God hold you in the palm of His hand." Good morning.
We will now proceed with the presentation of plaque of appreciation to our guest of honor. May we request Vice Admiral Eduardo MAAP Santos, Armed Forces of the Philippines retired, President, Maritime Academy of Asia and the Pacific, to present the plaque of appreciation. Plaque of appreciation is presented to Major General EDGARD E. AREVALO, Philippine Navy, Marines, Commander, Armed Forces of the Philippines Education, Training, and Doctrines Command, in grateful appreciation of his invaluable support to the Maritime Academy of Asia and the Pacific as guest of honor and speaker during the recognition ceremony of EQUESERION Class of 2024. Given the 28th day of May 2021 at the Maritime Academy of Asia and the Pacific, Kamaya Point, Paramelos, Bataan. Signed, Vice Admiral Eduardo MAAP Santos, Armed Forces of the Philippines retired, President, MAAP. At this juncture, Vice Admiral Eduardo MAAP Santos, Armed Forces of the Philippines retired, President, MAAP, will present a personal gift to Major General EDGARD E. AREVALO, Philippine Navy, Marines, Commander, Armed Forces of the Philippines Education, Training, and Doctrines Command. Likewise, Vice Admiral Eduardo MAAP Santos, Armed Forces of the Philippines retired, President, MAAP, would like to give a teddy bear to Major General Arevalo's wife, Mrs. Melvin Arevalo, to commemorate her visit at the Maritime Academy of Asia and the Pacific.
As the band plays march music, the fleet, led by the fleet commander, will pass in review before our guest of honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, passing in review before you is the Midshipman Fleet of the Maritime Academy of Asia and the Pacific, headed by its Fleet Commander Lee Martin Domingo, Tarlac City, and his staff, Jigs Albert Abrina, Palawan, Manly Adrian Joso, Muntinlupa, Justin Achas, Quezon City, Mark Lester Rakim, General San Jose City, Richmond John Torres, Nueva Vizcaya, Sean Charlie Chico, Quezon City, Sio Angelo Fajardo, Bacoor City. The Naval Education and Training Command Band earned the baton of Petty Officer First Class Mario Almario, First Squadron Commander John Moore Patino, General San Jose City, and his staff, Julius Pagalilawan, Tubigaraw City, Justin Leo Acosta, Nueva Vizcaya, Kenneth Crismundo, General San Jose City, Mon Nico Noble, Cavite City, Roy Abner Valdez, La Union, Alpha Company Commander Peter Edfrin Galabok, Manila, and his staff, Roy J. Baya, General San Jose City, John Edward Napira, Caloocan City, John Enner Lumactod, Makati City, First Platoon Leader Robin Rabeje, Bicol, Second Platoon Leader Aaron Philip Pamplona, Cainta Rizal, Third Platoon Leader Ron Jason Milayo, Antique, Bagot Company Commander Maynard Gil Nacario, General San Jose City, and his staff, Richard Nable, Cebu, John Marcy Dahay, General San Jose City, Kim Otencio, Binondo, Manila, First Platoon Leader Kim Polido, South Cotabato, Second Platoon Leader Ray Modina, Lipa City, Third Platoon Leader Karnain Bahang, Cebu, Please rise for the passing of colors. Color Commander Bon Peter Valerio, Nueva Ecija. Thank you. You may now take your seats.
Second Squadron Commander Daniel Gerald Cabalza Montanlupu City and his staff. Brandon Bennett Achuela, Sultan Kudarat. Jonathan Torero, Palawan. Michael De La Cruz, Nueva Ecija. Joman Miranda, South Cotabato. John Redor, Laguna. Charlie Company Commander Jason Banduquillo, Negros Oriental and his staff. Abner Pangan, Pampanga. Harold Jal Villenosa, Nueva Vizcaya. John Isaac De Guzman, Bataan. First Platoon Leader Jader Dutch Oyoa, Dumaguete City. Second Platoon Leader Errol Sumalinog, Sultan Kudarat. Third Platoon Leader Kevin Olfato, Cavite. Delta Company Commander Mark Monte Camarines Sur and his staff. Nacho Zerudo, South Cotabato. G.R. Luyas, Negros Oriental. Eliezer Maglasang, Bacolod City. First Platoon Leader Claudio Rafael Angeles, General Santos City. Second Platoon Leader Adrian Tubaga, Quezon City. Third Platoon Leader Joker Balabal, Ifugao. We will now proceed with the recognition ceremony of the exemplars on quest to seize the ever relentless and indomitable oceans.
Ladies, now witnessing the class of 2024 forming a diamond for their recognition. The recognition ceremony marks the end of the most difficult part of the training of the midshipmen. Here, the upperclassmen will give their sincere and sacred handshake to the foreclassmen, which every plebe dreams of. They are forming the four sides of the diamond that stands for the four companies from where these plebes came from. The diamond also symbolizes the most valuable mark in the lives of the EQUESERIONs. Diamonds are built under the most intense pressures over a long period of time. The pressures and stresses that these foreclassmen and women lived for the past 5 months contributed immensely to their development, transformation, and continuous learning as responsible men and women.
They are forming a diamond because they came out beautifully under the most inconceivable situations. These fourth-classmen have undergone a lot of hardships, struggles, trials, and sacrifices. They came out standing tall and proud, acquiring and retaining good values, which training has taught them.
It symbolizes the most valuable mark in the lives of the EQUESERION, the lives of these young men and women lived here in the Academy as sport class, will serve as the strongest foundation of their discipline, leadership, and character. Considered to be the most precious gem, this formation shows that the kind of character building training they had in the Academy is the most precious and significant experience they have in their lives. Their experiences as sport class men taught them the essence of humility and equipped them the desired attitude to withstand and surmount obstacles and hardships.
The members of the Class 2024 were selected from among the 800 aspirants who took the MAAP entrance examination all over the country. These aspirants were part of the 10,000 applicants. Majority of the group at around 70% came from Luzon, 8% from Visayas, and 22% from Mindanao. They formed the 22nd batch of the Maritime Academy of Asia in the Pacific. They came from destitute to well-off families, with parents ranging from ordinary employees, farmers, drivers, businessmen, merchant marine officers, doctors to high-ranking officials. A total strength of 443 reported last 17 September 2020 for their reception. Now, presently standing with pride, in front of you are 425 midshipmen and women of the EQUESERION Class of 2024.
You shall now witness the entrance of the upperclassmen as they shake the hands of the foreclassmen for the first time. These upperclassmen consist of 3 classes of midshipmen of the Maritime Academy of Asia and the Pacific. They underwent the same experiences that these 4-classmen have gone through. They know what it takes to be the lowest mammal in an exacting institution. This all the more makes this occasion a truly gratifying time to relieve the difficult life of a plebe, as they share this honor tradition with the members of Class 2024. The hardships, the double timing, the neck-breaking head-up, the chin in, and the mass exercises all end today with a triumphant smile from every plebe. They all have experienced the pain and the stress of not seeing their families and loved ones. Still, they persisted to meet the challenges head-on in order to see their families with a different posture, with a more mature stance and outlook. All the pain and homesickness are well compensated on this day of days, Recognition Day. The punishment and enormous requirements seemed inconsequential today, as these 4-class midshipmen and women now assume equally significant roles as upperclassmen. They are now given the chance to impart to others the wisdom and values they learned. To change and improve for the better is the main objective of us midshipmen. Thus, we would like to share with our juniors all the proper things. Our goal is to make our plebes 10 times better than us. Thus, it is a great challenge for the upperclassmen to achieve this goal. And now, during this recognition ceremony, these upperclassmen will pass on to these plebes in front of you the same handshake they received when they were a plebe before. With these handshakes also come great trust from the upperclassmen to their plebes.
At this point, you will hear the music playing Strong Hearts to signify the start of the most sacred handshake of the upperclassmen.
The Recognition Day is the ceremony that marks the end of the most difficult stage of training as a midshipman. From a carefree teenager, a fourth-class man is transformed and made to realize at an early stage of the many responsibilities one faces in his chosen field. The training regimen includes character building, semi-regimental training, and academics.
It is the time when the most significant and noteworthy tears of joy will roll on the cheek of every fourth-classman as a clear manifestation of his deep satisfaction and pride for hurdling the same path traveled by their predecessors.
It is the beginning of a new life that is deemed full of challenges. They face the future without apprehension, for deep in their hearts, the training they had, as well as their convictions, are enough armor to protect them in the pitfalls that they may encounter along the way.
It is the momentous time when their perfectionist and hard-to-please upperclassmen, who are gifted with a keen sense of finding even the slightest deficiencies, will finally shake their hands for the first time and utter the sweetest and meaningful words, "Carry on."
This is the most gratifying day for the proud parents who have painstakingly watched the transformation of their well-loved sons and daughters into more responsible men and women.
To the class of 2024, exemplars on quest to seize the ever-relentless and indomitable oceans, on behalf of the Upper Class Corps, we offer you our most genuine and warmest congratulations.
For hearts will live.